All right, Matt, we got a lot of weird things happening this week. We have a very, very long obituary. So we usually do, if you're not familiar, at the beginning of the show, if you hear clips at the beginning of the show, we're actually honoring actors, directors, whoever who may have recently passed away. And we basically had like 4 in the last like 5 days. So we're going to play the obituaries, but there's something I also wanted to read for the people who may not be familiar with it. It's one of my all-time favorite stories featuring one of my favorite actors, Chris Christopherson. Matt, are you familiar with the Toby Keith, Chris Christopherson story?
I am not. This will be new to me.
All right, so this is, I guess, written by Ethan Hawke from Rolling Stone years ago. Up from the basement came out of one of country music's brightest stars, who shall remain nameless. It's since been revealed to be Toby Keith. At that moment in time, the star had a monster radio hit about bombing America's enemies back into the Stone Age. Happy birthday, the star said to Willie, breezing by us. Now, this is at Willie Nelson's birthday concert party thing. So he says happy birthday to Willie. As he passes Christopherson in one long, confident stride, out of the corner of his mouth came, "None of that lefty shit out of you here tonight, Chris." So Christopherson, if you're not familiar, Christopherson, famous basically for his lefty politics. And he says, "What the F did you say to me?" Chris growled, stepping forward. "Oh no," groaned Willie under his breath. "Don't get Chris all riled up." "You heard me," the star said, walking away in the darkness. Christopherson shouts back, "Don't you turn your back on me, boy." Not giving a shit that basically the entire music industry seemed to be flanking him. The star turned around. "I don't want any problems, Chris. I just want you to tone it down." And here's Christopherson asking rhetorically, "You ever worn your country's uniform?" "What?" "Don't what me, boy. You heard the question. You just don't like the answer." He paused just long enough to get a full chest of air. "I asked, have you ever served your country? The answer is no, you have not. Have you ever killed another man, huh? Have you ever taken another man's life and then cashed the check your country gave you for doing it? No, you haven't, so shut the fuck up." I could feel his body pulsing with anger next to me. "You don't know what the hell you're talking about." "Whatever," the Keith supposedly muttered. Ray Charles stood motionless, so Ray's here too. Willie Nelson looked at me, shrugged mischievously like a kid in the back of the classroom. Christopherson took a deep inhale, leaned against the wall, still vibrating with adrenaline. He looked over at Willie, as if to say, "Don't say a word." Then his eyes found me. Because you know what Waylon Jennings said about... Oh, no, I'm not going to read that part. Because it gets a little graphic after that. So you can find the quote online. But it is one of my favorite things. And I have always adored Christopherson. I actually just rewatched, because of his passing, Lone Star, the John Sayles film, which I think features my favorite Christopherson performance. If you haven't seen Lone Star, actually I think it's on YouTube for free with ads right now.
Okay.
So you should definitely check it out. The new 4K from Criterion that came out earlier this year is beautiful. Oh, as I drop my pen. So let's get the show started off proper, Matt. Here we go.
I know you have been inconvenienced, and I'm prepared to compensate you. Shall we say 1 million American dollars?
No way.
Very well then, 2 million.
You haven't got enough money to buy my daughter off.
Nonsense.
Joffrey, apologize to Mr. McDowell.
I will do no such thing. The man is beneath me, and so is his daughter.
I don't give a damn who you are. This is America, Jack. Now you say one more word about Lisa here, and I'm gonna break my foot off in your royal ass.
Pardon me?
Now, there is one rule I insist be obeyed while you are in my house. No growing up. Stop this very instant.
Who the hell were those guys?
Oh, Marvin, you did it this time.
What are you talking about?
Those are hired killers back there.
Hired to kill who?
They're hired to kill this guy.
Me. Can you believe it?
You're being mighty careless with your mouth, son.
You ever shoot a man who's looking you in the eye, Charlie? It's a whole different story, isn't it?
You're fired.
Not a soul in this county isn't sick to death of your bullshit, Charlie Wade. You made yourself scarce. You could make a lot of people happy.
You little pissant.
Now or later. You won't have any trouble finding me.
You're a dead man.
Chris Gelsler here with
Matt Howell.
This week on Talk... Oh, is it your week? It's my week.
It's my week.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a really good intro, too. That sucks.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. You can do it. We'll do them both. Go ahead. Start us off.
We're going to do them both?
Why not?
All right, sure. All right, so this week on the first run, we go big. Some would even say mega. Big stars.
Ooh,
big performance choices. Big run times with Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. Do I keep going?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, we'll give you the big releases on physical media, the Viper video and streaming picks of the week. Then we wrap it up with our top 5 4-film directorial runs. It'll make sense at the end, folks.
I like that. All right, here we go. So this week on Talkin' Tua, or is it Talk Tua? Chris and Matt, that's us, are consumed by Francis Ford Coppola's artistry and hubris with Megalopolis. It's Papa's likely his last film, Matt, his swan song, if you will, the capper to a legacy of masterful filmmaking, the pinnacle of cinematic artistry, or something else entirely. Then there's the Machiavellian rundown of the big releases. Well, the rest of it's not as good. That's good, though, Matt. I like that. That's good. All right. I really wanted to work in a Talk To a joke in there. That was the whole point.
Very nice.
I got so possessed with that idea that I totally forgot that it was your week. So
It is. I should have let you just run with it. Just got a free week out of it.
Son of a bitch. Let's listen to a clip from Megalopolis. And actually, no, I had a whole other thing, too. I was going to make another joke, too. So, Matt, let's go ahead and get all dirty and head down to the club. All right, let's hear it. Here we go. Megalopolis.
You want to help me?
Yeah, and while I want to learn.
And you think 1 year of medical school entitles you to plow through the riches of my Emersonian mind?
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
You have no idea about me. You think I am nothing? Just a socialite?
No, not nothing, but I reserve my time for people who can think about science and literature and architecture and art. You find me cruel, selfish, and unfeeling? I am. I work without caring what happens to either of us. So go back to the club, bear it all, and stock the kind of people that you enjoy.
Fine. I will.
I didn't realize I was unmuted when I started laughing, of course, with the
club.
Matt, if you can, what is Megalopolis all about?
So, Megalopolis, what is this thing all about? It is a near-future New York that is a stand-in for the Roman Empire. Caesar, yes, that Caesar, is one of the great minds of the city. He has developed a new miracle substance that will allow him to build a mega city where he comes into conflict with his various rivals, Cicero, Crassus, and somebody named Wow Platinum. You know, somebody who was Augustus Caesar's like aunt or something like that, right? So, yeah, it's essentially a retelling of a very loose retelling of a Roman myth or a Roman affair, updated to a near future New York.
So, yeah, New Rome, if you will.
Sure.
Yes.
Right.
And, okay, when I walked out of this film, Matt, did you get the full immersive experience or no? So there's 3 ways you can watch this. You can watch this in IMAX.
Sure.
You can watch the full immersive IMAX, I can't remember what it's called.
Sure.
And they only had a few of those screenings here, and unfortunately my timing didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And there's just, I'm sure, a general screening. So did you get the full version?
No, I did not get the full version, no.
So just for people who may not know, the full version, there's a scene in the film where Driver is, the screen shrinks down to this little cube, right? And he's encompassed by black all around it. And then he's asked a question, and he answers it, Driver's character. Well, in the full immersive experience version, and I guess they did do this here. I actually ran into somebody today who told me he was at a screening and they did it. That somebody walks into the theater, the lights go up, he's got a microphone, he talks to Driver and asks him the question, and then Driver responds to him. Now, he's lip-syncing the question because it is in the film itself.
Right.
But there's supposed to be a live component to the experience from that.
Interesting.
So,
wow. No, I did not.
I'm disappointed I didn't see that.
I did not see that, no.
All right, where are we? So we talked about what it's about. Matt, when I walked out of this, I felt that practically that this film is ungradable.
Fair.
And then I thought, I don't know if that's true.
Right.
What were your thoughts on Megalopolis? Is it the suitable capper to one of the greatest directors of all time? Or
who peaked really early, apparently.
Not so much.
Yeah. He peaked very early in his career. Yeah, so almost from the first frame of this thing, I knew that I was in for it. And it was something that I knew was going to be strange. It was going to be indulgent. It was going to be a spectacle. I knew one part of me was really going to enjoy it because it was almost going to be like it was so bad that it was just something I had to watch. But another part of me says, is this the man who gave us The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2? Is this the man who gave us Apocalypse Now? And the answer is apparently yes. But this is not a good film. It is a strange film. It is an experience. And I think I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to watch this.
Yeah.
But at many times in this, and you've got a lot of really, good to great actors in here. All of them, for the most part, at least, are interesting and have had good roles in the past. It's all very stagey. It's all very theatrical. It's all very unnatural. And it seems like they're just kind of making it up. They're just kind of making it up as they go along, I guess. Mm-hmm. I heard that he was allowed them to improvise maybe a little, just randomly. And that caused so much so that the writers and set designers, they quit because they were not needed because he was just letting the actors do whatever the hell they wanted. It's just an odd film. And I think it's going to be one of these things that's going to be picked apart and puzzled. And I guarantee you, your film student nephew, by the time he's in the 301 version of his classes, will say that this is a masterpiece and will just say that you don't get it.
I guess that's possible. I think you hit on it, though. It's big, it's outsized, and I think that's exactly what it is. It's operatic. Mm-hmm. It feels like the opera version of a film where everything is so much bigger and outsized and everybody is making their own decisions for their characters and making the weirdest decisions at times for their characters. That particular scene that we had for the clip when Emmanuel is doing that entitles me is just so bad. Though I'm very thankful we get drivers in the club, back to the club. But that's great. But it's just everything is so big and it's so outsized, and it's weird. I'm trying to figure out when I'm watching to exactly what his point of view is in the film. It's like I'm thinking he's been watching entirely too much right wing watch and getting high at the same time, and then kind of putting this all together, right? So mapping that fall of Rome kind of to us today with rising fascism in the country, and I'm unsure of his intent because he also doesn't believe in canceling is a whole thing for him. Like, let's not even get into the issues with the fact that his protege, the guy that he basically kept afloat for years, who did the Jeepers Creepers films, who is a horrible human being and wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for him. And a lot of the people in this film have had some potential issues. Shia LaBeouf has had his. There's the other thing, though. I think LaBeouf is perfect in this for him. This is something this is a role that Shia is like, I think, was born to play. This character for him is just something that I think he was so excited about. I'm sure he got the script and was like, oh God, I cannot wait to do some crazy batshit stuff with this thing.
Well, if what they say is true, I mean, if Coppola was letting them improvise entire scenes, I mean, that would really put some meaning, or at least some reason to why Shia LaBeouf is doing what he's doing in this film. I mean, even from frame one, he's doing these weird little dances and biting people on their thighs. Like, it's just wild.
It's the whole thing feels just like a grand cinematic experiment. And that's where I get stuck, because I appreciate an artist trying to just do this one last thing and just throwing it all out there, just throwing paint on the canvas and then just going nuts.
Right.
That's exactly what it does here, and I respect that. It's a mess. It's beautiful in its scope and in its vision, but it's limited by, I think, an artist who can't see really the big picture anymore. The collaboration process in this thing, Matt, felt palpable to me. He clearly wants the actors to do whatever they want to do. Like we said, some of them make some very bold choices. Except I'm almost a little disappointed in Nathalie Emmanuel, because I feel like nobody told her that.
Right.
She seems the most straightforward, while everybody else seems to be having a blast. So, and then the film's message at the end, I love seeing fascists get the Mussolini treatment. That will never not make me smile. But I don't know if I'm as optimistic as I think Coppola is either in the film. But I also think there's a certain naivete in regards to that as well. I don't know. Hey, I got to see James Remar, which I'm very excited about. I always like me some Remar. He always shows up, pops up for about 2-3 minutes. And I will say the costuming in this thing is gorgeous. But a lot of the other stuff, the set design, the special effects, a lot of this stuff is just...
It's pretty Bush League. It's very...
underdeveloped or just plain bad. And the whole thing with the fact that the driver's character can control or stop time.
Right.
I still struggle with the import of that.
Right.
It's just like, again, it's a big, at times, really fascinating mess, and that's why I don't know what to do with it. My Emersonian mind cannot handle the big ideas that Papa's throwing at me.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he's been working on this thing for what? How long? 15 years? Longer?
I think since the 80s.
He's
do this thing.
What am I saying? 15 years. He's probably been working on it. I mean, I know they scrapped it at one point around 9/11 because of the implications of that. So that's like almost 25 years ago. So, I guess he's been kicking around for a long time.
89 supposedly is in the first rumblings, and then he wanted to go to it in the 90s, and then it didn't have a finished script. I guess this is a finished script.
I guess so.
And so that was postponed to no earlier than 96. Oh man, I don't know. It's just I don't know what to say really about it. It's one of those things where I almost feel like you have to watch it to fully absorb it, to really to get the full thing of what's happening here. Is it going to work for you? I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think it worked for me, but I just appreciate it for what it is and what he's trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that should be really telling. I agree with Chris wholeheartely. So if I'm going to grade this thing, I'm going to get an FA. Like F for an actual movie. It's like terrible. It's like not quite the Room level bad, but it's bad. It's really bad. But at the same time, I weirdly, like Chris said, really respect that he just went all out and threw this thing out there as a piece of art and has no apologies for how you should interact with this. And for that, I give it an A. But for an actual piece of film of like entertainment, I'm going to give it an F as far as the film itself.
Yeah, it's... I feel like I agree entirely with Matt. That's why I was going to say a C, because it's right in the middle.
Sure.
The highs are... It's not even that the highs are high. It's just unsuccessful, but it's the effort. You can see everything there, what he's trying to say, I think, but it's just a mess. It's 2+ hours of just some of the craziest stuff you're ever going to see. Like, Aubrey Plaza, who, again, what's her character's name?
Wow Platinum.
Wow Platinum. she said that like she would come to the set. It was a crazy experience because she'd come to the set thinking they were going to film, and then like Coppola would be like, "Oh, let's play a game today instead." Right, and she never knew what was going to happen on any given day.
Right.
And I guess that could certainly be a frustrating experience. But yeah, no, I'm with Matt. It's both a complete disaster, but a disaster worth beholding in some weird way. It's not like car accident slowing down on the highway like that, but just
it's just like an unfettered. It's just like an unfettered piece of art, right? And you can take it or you can leave it. He's put it out there, and unfortunately, for me, I'm going to leave it. And I don't think it's particularly good, but I respect him putting it out there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right. So I'll go FAC. I agree with you. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Let's give it a FAC.
That's right.
on the report card, I want you to say F plus A equals C, and that's what
it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Done. If you had a chance to see Megalopolis, it's currently playing in theaters, but I can't imagine for much longer. I don't know. How did this thing do? Hold on. Let's see the Wikipedias. What do you have to say for yourself, Internets?
It only made
budget of $120 million, which he basically paid for. 5.3.
5.3. Oh, yikes.
Sold off part of his vineyard. I respect it. So, all right, let's talk about what's coming up on feedback at thefirstrun.com. Let us know your thoughts if you've seen it. Coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday, October 8th. We got some cool, fun stuff coming up. And here's one of them. I think this is the clip for the Steelbook for this film in 4K that's already available, but that Steelbook looks sharp as heck. And I don't know it on physical media. I did buy it digitally for like $5 like 7 months ago. So I don't know if I'll be upgrading because it is a 4K file, but I mean, it's a compressed Apple iTunes 4K file.
The horseman was a Hessian mercenary, sent to these shores by German princes to keep Americans under the yoke of England. But unlike his compatriots, who came for money, the horseman came for love of carnage. When battle was joined, there you'd find him. He rode a giant black steed named Daredevil. He was infamous for riding his horse hard into battle, chopping off heads at full gallop. He'd filed his teeth down to sharp points to add to the ferocity of his appearance. This butcher didn't finally reach his end until the winter of '79.
And that, of course, is a clip from Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, one of the last great films that he made. After that, I think would be Big Fish for me, and that's been it.
I really like Sleepy Hollow. I have a real soft spot for Sleepy Hollow. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you can pick up the Steelbook 4K of that on Tuesday, the 8th of October. Let's count them down, baby!
Number 5!
Produced by Val Lewton, I Walked with a Zombie and The Seventh Victim, being released as a set from Criterion in 4K. You get brand new 4K restorations on both films, audio commentaries, audio essays, and then a 2005 documentary as well. After that is A Quiet Place Day 1 being released physical media. There's also a Steelbook. You get 4K as a Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos track. And Day Zero Begins and Endings, where you hear from Krasinski, the cast and crew. We also have some other interviews and behind-the-scenes featurettes, as well as some deleted and extended scenes. We didn't see this for the show, and Matt pointed out to me that it was directed by Michael Sarnowski, who did My Beloved Pig.
Mm-hmm.
So I am definitely going to try and catch up with that. Maybe I'll slot that in for my Halloween horror viewing. I've been working my way through my Friday the 13th set, and I'm on, where am I? Jason Lives, I think is what I'm at right now. What I've been doing, actually, is I've been burning my Blu-rays, my Friday the 13th, so I have digital copies of them.
Nice.
But, yeah, so it's been fun going through those. But I do want to watch... Oh, wait, I'm going to save that for later. That's for the final segment of the show. What else, Matt? Number 3? 3 sounds good.
Can you hit it from there?
I got 3 shots. That's enough.
Can't argue with a confident man.
I tried to find a new number 3 and a number 2 today. After about like a half an hour or 45 minutes of looking, I couldn't really. I gave up. I'll try again soon because it was. I don't know if you know on the Criterion Channel, Matt. I don't know. They have a lot of great horror films on there right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Winona Ryder month.
Oh, wow!
So a bunch of Winona's films are on there, and I spent some time, skimming through Reality Bites and Heathers and a whole bunch of stuff. So wait, is Heathers part of it? I think so. Yeah, it is. It's on there. So I do love me Winona Ryder. But I'm here to talk about Thelma being released on physical media. One of the pleasant surprises of this year. You can pick that up on Blu-ray. Ooh, here's one for Matt.
That's a number 2.
Kinds of Kindness being released on Blu-ray. There is behind-the-scenes interview thing with the cast and crew, and also 2 deleted scenes. I'm going to hang tight on this. I'm hoping there'll be a 4K. It's the same reason why I haven't bought Pure Things yet either, because I'm hoping there'll be a 4K release at some point.
Yeah.
So far, no news on either of them, though, for that, Matt.
Yeah, I will be waiting for the 4K. I don't buy really pretty much anything now unless it's in 4K.
Yeah, I did get a couple things. We'll talk about that when it's done here. But number 1, Maxine is being released by A24 in 4K as well as a Blu-ray. You do get a Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the film, and then 4 making of featurettes, one of them being a Q&A with Ty West. I'm sitting tight on this for now. It's in 4K. I'm kind of hoping for some special edition A24 set with all 3 films. So I have X on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
I never bought Pearl, and I haven't bought Maxine yet, obviously. So that I realized after Pearl came out that I wanted to wait, hopefully, for a 4K. And now that Maxine is out, fingers crossed that I'm going to get a 4K set of all 3 of them. I'd be shocked if they didn't. Because after A24's burned me a couple times, I learned my lesson. So, and then they surprise dropped Love Lies Bleeding in 4K. It was just available on their site one day.
Right.
And so I bought that. So that's what I'm hoping will happen, and I'll just jump all over it then. Are you going to buy Maxine? No, you didn't like it as much as I did.
I didn't. No. Yeah. Did you see my text that I sent you about?
I did, about the novelization.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that too, but
All 3 of them.
that. I know, but I got that. I'm still trying to. I don't read enough because I don't go to bed early enough to read because I watch stuff instead. Right. I have my original short story of what goes there. Is that what it's called? The original, what the thing is based on.
Who goes there?
And I'm trying to read that, and then I have the novelization of the thing, which I want to read.
All right.
And then because you find out what happens to 2 characters off screen.
Oh.
And then I have my novelization of. I was trying to find a novelization of Alien, and I couldn't find it for less than like $50. But what I did find was all 3 books in one book. So they have all 3 novelizations: Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. Well, I guess Alien 3 is based on the original script and not the version of the film either. So they're like all in one big ass paperback, Matt, and I got that for like $10.
Yeah.
So that's sitting on my shelf next to my thing. So eventually, hopefully someday, I'll get to it. Other releases. Also coming out. Robot Dreams, Matt, is being released. It was supposed to be a fantastic animated film. This is not Wild Robot. This is another one.
Okay.
Though I've heard great things about Wild Robot. We should probably try and catch up with it at some point. And The Late Night with the Devil is getting a standard Blu-ray release. We talk about the Steelbook that came out a few months ago, or a month or so ago. What else? 4K releases. Devil, the M. Night Shyamalan film, is getting released in 4K from Shout. Friday Night Lights is getting released in 4K. There's also going to be a Steelbook on that. And I guess I'll make, since I dropped the ball on this, I don't have it, I'm going to make my Late Night with the Devil Blu-ray standard my Viper Video pick of the week. So I thought I'd grab one, but I didn't. So there it is, folks. ViperVideoTampa.com. Go over there or give Shelby a call. I have a lot of stuff coming in, Matt. My Hitcher, I think, is on the way, which I'm very excited about, my 4K set. I'm going to show Matt some of the stuff I got recently from Viper Video. I got my Kingdom of the Spiders, which is a William Shatner Blu-ray film, which I remember watching this movie as a kid. Scared the living hell out of me, and I think that's why I'm scared of spiders as much as because of Kingdom of the Spiders. I got my standard edition of the Bounty Hunter trilogy from, I think this is, from Radiance. I don't know if, Matt, you're familiar with the Bounty Hunter trilogy at all?
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so I heard it's really good things. I got a good deal on it. I upgraded my pickup on South Street One of my favorite little noirs. I had it on DVD. Shelby had it on sale for $15. I traded in my DVD, so I got it for 10.
Nice.
I was very excited about that. I got Chud today for $15 used.
Wow, that's fun.
And this is the special edition too, which has both versions of the film. I was able to get Trouble Every Day recently, Claire Denis' first film, with the slipcover that is now out of print.
Okay.
Which is, I've always wanted to see this, and I'm very excited. And then I think we talked about it. I did get my Long Legs 4K.
Nice. And
this is all stuff I've gotten in the last basically month plus. I haven't done this, and we'll talk to Matt in a while about this. And then I got my Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf, Vinegar Syndrome.
Nice.
In 4K. And then finally, Delirium, Lamberto Bava's noir film. So, not noir, his Giallo film, this is the one with the lady, the people with the big eyeball heads.
Okay.
You're probably not familiar. You're not into the Italian horror as much as me.
No.
Matt, what should we be streaming this week now that I've gone through all that stuff?
On physical media? Well, I'll make a couple of... so it's the start of spooky season, so I'm going to... This month I'll be giving you various options out there that are in the spooky vein. So because it's essentially one of the show's all-time favorite horror films, The Thing is available for your viewing pleasure on Prime Video and Peacock. And just because we talked about it at this beginning of the segment, Sleepy Hollow is available on Paramount Plus if you're so inclined to watch that. Both of them,
nice,
quite good.
Oh, Amazon too finally roped up. Not all, but I think 1.5 James Bond films are on Amazon Prime.
Oh, nice.
They've always been available on different sites at different times,
sure,
but they're all on Prime except for Casino Royale, and that one is still on Paramount Plus for some reason. And Never Say Never Again also is not, but that's not like an official Eon release. So
gotcha.
But if you want to watch a Bond film, if you have Prime, you pretty much have access to every one of them except for Casino. So there you go. I was a little excited when I saw that online today, and I jumped right over there. And what did I start? I had it on in the background today while I was working. What the heck was it? Oh, yeah, it was Never Say Never Again. So there you go. Because I have that one digitally already. All right, where are we? Final segment? Final segment time. Let's wrap it up. Matt will explain what this is. No, one of us will explain what we're talking about. I'll tell you now. Because I'm going to play a clip from a film that didn't make the cut. So Coppola, Matt, is considered to have the greatest run, 4-film run in cinematic history. With The Godfather, The Conversation, Godfather Part 2, and Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, well, what are Matt and ours favorite 4-film runs for directors? So we're going to count them down. We're going to give you the director and then those 4 films. Remember, they got to be in a row.
Right.
That's what's going to trip you up.
Yep.
Here's one from a clip. Here's a clip from a director that didn't quite make it for me.
Take a close look at the track record of this company, and you'll see that we have gambled in markets traditionally regarded as non-profit. Hospitals, prisons, space exploration. I say good business is where you find it. As you know, we've entered into a contract with the city to run local law enforcement. But at Security Concepts, we believe an efficient police force is only part of the solution. No, we need something more. We need a 24-hour-a-day police officer. A cop who doesn't need to eat or sleep. A cop with superior firepower and the reflexes to use it. Fellow executives, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the future of law enforcement. Ed 209.
What is that phrase like? What is it? An image or something that precedes unfortunate events?
Right.
That, of course, is a clip from Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. Matt didn't make the cut for me. You get a couple pops in me. I could make a run at you with that because you have RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct, and Showgirls.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, greatest of all time, favorite, top 5 favorite, no, but still, that is a really crazy, interesting little run of films.
All right.
So why don't you start us off? Who's your director? What's your number 5?
So this is pretty tough. My My number 6, my first of my honorable mentions was so close. I wanted to put them on the list so bad, but I felt that if I didn't go the list that I had, that I would have to give up. So my number 5 then is Martin Scorsese and his run of Goodfellas, Cape Fear, The Age of Innocence, and Casino. Now I think those are very much weighted very strongly at the beginning and the end of those runs, because I think both of those films are, at least Goodfellas is quite possibly one of those perfect films where everything just works about it, and Casino is great as well. But I think those other two are very, very solid, and if there were anybody else's over, they would be, top tier films.
Here's the problem I'm going to run into some of these. I have not seen Age of Innocence.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't include it. Mm-hmm. I had to excise that. The same reason why you're not going to have James Cameron on my list.
Okay.
I still have not seen The Abyss.
Okay.
I have to get on that. But I think I need The Abyss to check it off before I could have him on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So then my number 5 is going to be Dario Argento.
Okay.
With Deep Red, Suspiria, Inferno, and Tenebra. So the start of my love of Italian horror basically begins with Suspiria, and then from there I devoured everything that Argento did, which then pulled me into Fulci as well. That really scratched that Italian gore itch for me.
Mm-hmm.
But still, when it comes to formative Italian horror films that I love, or just horror films generally that I love, I think those first 3 are top shelf, and Tenebra's good enough to get it over the finish line for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Argento's run there is my number 5.
All right. Well, I have seen The Abyss. So my number 4 is James Cameron and Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, and T2. Now, the Aliens is one of my favorite films of all time. It is like top 10 film for me. I love that film so damn much. The Terminator is great. It is a stone cold classic of sci-fi. The Abyss is really, really strong. And the only weakness of T2 is that I saw it so many times when it came out when I was in my youth. It almost has a little worn off the tread on the tire a little bit for me. But if you kind of look at it objectively, it is still a fantastic run of genre sci-fi films. Maybe the greatest run of science fiction films that we have ever got, one after the other.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I'll find out when I see The Abyss. What should I watch? Should I watch the extended version of The Abyss or the theatrical version? I believe I'm supposed to just watch the extended one. That's better.
Yeah, the extended. But there's some stuff in it that they cut out that is really good. It really adds a lot to the story.
All right, I'm gonna try and get that done this weekend and report back. Maybe I'll adjust my list for you then.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 4 then, I will be shocked if this is not on Matt's list, but we'll find out.
Okay.
And there's Sergio Leone with Fistful of Dollars, for a few dollars more, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then Once Upon a Time in the West. And I have Matt to thank for watching Once Upon a Time in the West. I think I started with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I watched it, I believe, at Cine Studio at Trinity College in Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing like a revival of it. And I absolutely loved it. No, I think actually it was the extended version where they brought in Eastwood to add dialogue. They brought everybody back, I guess, and I think they ate it too. Oh, wait, was it just? I can't remember now. But they had them redub the scenes because, as you know, I think for a lot of Italian films, they didn't record sound during the filming of the movie. They did it afterwards, all in the studio. So they had this deleted scene that they put back in the film, and Eastwood came back, and I think Eli Wallach did too. And I think, though, that, what's his name that was dead by then. So, but at least the Clint part is definitely done then. And I saw it, and I was like, this is fantastic. Then I went and watched A Fistful of Dollars, and I watched A Few Dollars More, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And it was years later, Matt said, you have to watch Once Upon a Time in the West. It's the best out of all of them. And he's right. It is my favorite Western. It is fantastic. So Leone's Western run there is my 4.
Yeah, it's my number 3. It is again, if James Cameron's run was the best sci-fi run, this is the quintessential Western run. You can really watch these, and you've seen really the kind of pinnacle of these films. I think for a few dollars more, maybe the weakest of all of them, but it's still fantastic. All of it is just so good. Clint Eastwood is so good in this, and then somehow he turns around and just outdoes himself. Sergio Leone outdoes himself with Once Upon a Time in the West. And it's just a magnum opus of a genre. It's like a defining thing. So it had to be on my list.
There you go. So my number 3 then is, if this was, I'm going down and I'm listing these as best films, not my favorites, but the best.
Okay.
Then this would be my 1.
Okay.
But it's not. It's my 3. And that's Coppola's Godfather Conversation, Godfather 2 Apocalypse Now. Right?
Okay.
Now, those are all fantastic films, and I do think Coppola, I think, has earned that best director kind of run of all time because of that. But I factored in rewatch value for me. How often have I watched these films, and what do they mean to me kind of personally? And my 1 and 2 are just a little bit higher. But that Coppola run is my 3.
Yeah, so much like Chris with James Cameron, I've never seen The Conversation, so I didn't include this in my list, so I can't comment on how good that run is. But it's something I'll have to catch up with at some point. All right, so I'll be really shocked. I'm almost... So we may have the same top 2. Although Chris could have another director that's like hovering at number 6 for me, that could be in his top 2 as well.
Oh, interesting. All right.
So my number 2 then is Quentin Tarantino with his run of Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, and then Kill Bill. Fine, if you want to cheat and say it's Kill Bill 1, fine. But if you want to combine them together like you should, then you've got the entire Kill Bill film. Honestly, I don't know when we will see a freshman director just hit it boom, 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 one after the other, just one thing after the other as far as like how good they are, how meaningful they are to a kind of certain set of movie fans. And he hasn't reached that kind of pinnacle. I mean, he really hit the top of his bell curve right off the bat. But he has had some real highs since then. But man, that four film run is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Matt because that's my number 2 as well. I think those films, I was thinking about the other day. There's a guy I follow online. I think he writes some stuff for some more news every now and then. His name is it Lon Harris? And he was talking about, oh no, I'm talking about Matt Singer. Was talking about how to save movie theaters. He did an article, I guess it came out that like AMC and some of the chains are going to spend a whole bunch of money into the chains to improve projection and the experience, but also I think stupidly spend money on other things too that are ancillary to the theater experience. But fine, whatever. But he talked about one of the big things that were lost are second run theaters. These are for the uninitiated. If you're a young pup, remember this. Your old uncles Matt and Chris here can tell you about this. There used to be theaters typically close to your first run theater. Like this was across the street in a shopping mall, basically. Though it was like a legit theater. It wasn't like in a little strip mall. But it was a legit theater. It was a second run theater. It was a Berlin Cinema. They had 2 screens, and that's where I saw Pulp Fiction. And that basically, I know it's a cliche, but it changed my life. And, and it really sparked a love of film for me. It's 1994, so I would have been 19 at that point. And I'd always liked movies, but I hadn't really been exposed, or the power of what they are hadn't really hit me until then. And I used to go to that Berlin Twin all the time. Eventually it actually burned down, and they never rebuilt it, unfortunately. But from there, I immediately went out and rented Reservoir Dogs. Totally blown away by it. And then at that point, Jackie Brown and Kill Bill. But 4 films that have meant the world to me. So yeah, Tarantino's my 2.
Yeah, you can't overstate how much those films did for people getting into film, right? And that's like, and just seeing his references and all that kind of stuff. It was very, very landmark films. So my number 1, I'll be very curious to see if this is also Chris's number 1, is Alfred Hitchcock. And with his run of Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, and The Birds. Now, Vertigo, North by Northwest and Psycho, basically the Urtex slasher. Those are all excellent film. And The Birds is just so weird. It's just so weird and out there for his filmography, but somehow it still works fantastic.
Maybe I need to revisit it. But The Birds kept it out of my top 5. Yeah. I've never been the big fan of The Birds. I think it's just okay. Now, Vertigo, North by Northwest, and Psycho are all stone cold classics.
Right.
So, with The Birds, I just never... Maybe I just need to watch it again, but I just never really cared for it.
Yeah.
So then, Matt, what would you guess my number one would be then?
I would have guessed it's Stanley Kubrick.
It's not.
Okay.
Remember, favorite.
Favorite. I don't know then. John Carpenter?
John Carpenter it is. Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, and The Thing.
Okay.
All right. Or you could throw in a fifth film, Assault from Precinct 13 as well. You can get up to 5 there. But yeah, it's Carpenter for me. These films I watch The Fog 2-3 times a year. The Thing I watch probably 10 times a year. Yeah. I love that film. Now, I admit a lot of those are just background plays while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
But also the score. It's the synth scores that Carpenter did, him and Alan Howarth as well, is what kind of elevates it even further in me. I have another level of enjoyment on top of that. So for my favorites, the ones I revisit the most, it's Carpenter.
All right.
It really is.
Okay.
So honorable mentions, Matt?
Yeah, so Stanley Kubrick had 2 runs. He had 2001, A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, and The Shining. And then he also had The Killing, Paths of Glory, Spartacus, and Lolita. Those are all kept off the list because there are some weaker entries, but they are all really, really solid. And then I really wanted to get the Coens in there somehow, but so Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Miller's Crossing, and Barton Fink, and then they have another one with The Hudsucker Proxy, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get my favorite. There's the stuff around No Country for Old Men is not that great, so therefore couldn't make the list for me. And then finally, Hayao Miyazaki with Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and Ponyo.
Excellent. There's a Criterion is doing a No Country for Old Men 4K disc.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. My problem with Kubrick is I've never seen Barry Lyndon.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's been on Blu-ray for a while now from Criterion. They did a 4K transfer for the Blu-ray, and that's what I'm sitting on.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that 4K release to come out.
Fair enough.
So when and if it does, then I'll be jumping on that. But I just haven't seen it. Honorable mentions for me too would be Soderbergh with The Limey, Aaron Brockovich, Traffic, and Ocean's 11. Kurosawa with Hidden Fortress, The Bad Sleep Well, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, and High and Low. And then another one too, I'm surprised not on Matt's list, is Rob Reiner. Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men.
Okay.
All in a row.
Wow.
Cronenberg, Scanners, Videodrome, Dead Zone, Fly, and Dead Ringers. PTA, you got Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, and The Master. What kept me off of it was Punch Drunk Love. I enjoy that film, but I don't love it. And then no Nolan for you either, huh?
Well, he was on there, but I didn't want to go too long. But he was on my honorable mentions as well. Yeah.
What would you go though? Like, would you go? Because Insomnia is okay, I think. So I what do you start with? I think I start with. Here's the problem. Even Batman Begins, I think, is okay.
Yeah.
So there's The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception. Then you get run into The Dark Knight Rises to get to Interstellar.
Yeah.
So it's
tough. I went Batman Begins just because I felt that was much stronger than Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. So, and then I went to other people I checked out that just didn't shake out for me. Villeneuve, because that one with Jake Gyllenhaal, which I'm blanking on, which is just okay. Identity or something like that. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Walter Hill, I looked at as well, and John McTiernan. But there's always something holding me back.
Same thing with Spielberg. I thought for sure he would have a run, but he had 1941 right after Jaws and Raiders, and then it's like a stinker, and then it was awesome again. So yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah, that was crushing for me as well. Yeah, I agree. What's your favorite 4-run film by a director? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, break my heart. What's coming up next week?
Yeah, the hits keep coming. If you thought Megalopolis was something we were super excited to see, we're going to go see Joker, Folly, Adieu. Not only is it a sequel to a middling Joker film at best, it's also a musical, which makes me want to blow my brains out. I don't even want to go see this thing, but we're also pairing that with the probably going to be bad, but I still want to watch it, Salem's Lot.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched Penguin yet? I watched the first episode. I actually enjoyed it.
I've not watched it yet, no. We're watching The Bear right now. It's actually really good.
Oh, nice. Okay. We just started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, actually.
Okay. Nice.
We're in the middle of season 3. I'm trying to get her to watch Hacks, because I know it just won a bunch of Emmys. I love that show. I thought it was pretty funny, too. Okay. But there's something coming up. Some other show coming up that I'm really excited about. I don't know. Oh, this is good radio. All right. Check us out at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. Head on over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. Remember to head over to Viper Video Tampa. Give Shelby a hi, a hello. Say what up. Tell him Chris Scalzo sent you, and he'll say who. And I guess that's it. Or thefirstrun.com. Archive all the old shows. Get the report card and more. And that is it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Talk Tua. As always, we appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. We love you very much. And we'll see you again soon.
So go back to the club.